Alright guys, welcome to the video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about my brand new gaming computer. Now if you guys follow the channel, you guys might have seen the previous video of a upgrade I did do to my gaming PC, but more on that a little bit later. Right now we're going to talk about the Dell G5 590. Now for this gaming PC, it is my first gaming PC, and now I understand most of you are going to say you should have built your own PC, blah 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 blah, yada yada yada. I tried doing that, and with the current state of the world, graphics cards are very expensive, double if not triple the price that you would normally get them at, which is kind of ridiculous. And I didn't want to jump on that train of buying just because I wanted it. So I ended up I found a gaming PC online from somebody selling it, and I ended up with the Dell G590. Now for this specific configuration, I'm running the i7 9700 9th gen from Intel with 16 gigabytes of RAM by by Dell as well, no brand really. And I'm running also the RTX 1660 Super for this computer, which by the way runs great. Obviously having no baseline because I've never had a computer, but regardless, the 1660 is very good. Although I did want a 3060, but again, with the current state of the world, it's not very possible to get at the moment easily, and for relatively the MSRP of $400. Moving on. So for this gaming PC, I did end up running a couple benchmarks. Now, full disclosure, those benchmarks mean nothing to me. I don't know much about these numbers. I just did them because I'm sure some of you guys might ask me. So this is the benchmarks. For this first benchmark, for the benchmark score, I ended up getting a graphics score of 5,832. For the CPU score, I got a score of 6,325, whatever those means. But when I did run it, it said I was in the 95th percentile. So for my specific configuration, was really good. All right. The second benchmark that I did run was a benchmark called Heaven, or Heaven, I forget how you say it. Now, on extreme quality, I did get an average of 97 frames per second. I did run the test again on low settings because myself will be running low settings on most games because I prefer performance over visuals. So that might change for you guys, but again, the low test, I got 263 frames on average, which, I mean, that's very good. My monitor can only support 75 hertz and 75 frames per second, so way more than I need for myself at this moment. Moving on to the next benchmark that I I used Cinabench. And with Cinabench, I got a multi-score of 6,353. And then also getting a single core score of 1,169. Again, whatever those scores mean to you mean nothing to me, although they're there for your information just in case you know more about computers than I do, because I'm just getting into it and I don't know that much of the nitty-gritty. So again, do with it as you want. Moving on over to the most important part for myself personally for this gaming PC, gaming. I did end up testing 6 games from this PC itself. First game being Fortnite, low settings because that's my main game, and again, I care about performance over quality, so yeah. Fortnite runs at over 200 FPS with competitive settings. I also tried out Apex Legends. That runs at about 130 frames on max settings just because I don't really play, so I just left it how it was. I also tried out CSGO, getting a total of 150 frames, 150 frames per second on max settings as well. I also tried Rocket League, again max settings. I got over 200 frames per second. I did download Warzone. I don't have the full game, but I do have just the Battle Royale version, which is obviously free. On default settings, which whatever configures to this specific hardware, just default, I got 85 frames per second on that, which for me is really good, and most of the settings were on high anyways from what I looked at, but it favored graphics over over performance, which regardless I still ran the game very well. And the last game that I did get try out was Valorant, and on low settings I got over 200 FPS, which is very good in my opinion, coming from a PS4 where it's not stable 60 frames per second. So my enjoyment has been improved about 1,000%. So that's essentially it with the computer itself. There is two things I want to touch up on. One thing is the price. From this specific configuration I saw on Dell's website, you can get it for $1,100, which brand new, that's just what you can get it for, which is pretty good considering the prices of GPU cards right now. But I did pay $800 for this gaming rig off somebody third party. Now there is risk associated with that. You never know if you're getting a bad system, worn out parts, all that stuff. But that was just a risk I wanted to take because I wanted a gaming computer and I didn't want to play on my shitty PS4 anymore. So it worked out for me. It might not work out for you, but just do your research, stress test the PC, take some stuff to inform yourself on the PC, make sure it's actually good. Now that that's out of the way, the second thing I want to address is on this specific gaming PC, a lot of the reviews that I read and saw on YouTube, Reddit, a bunch of places, the biggest issue was it heats up and it's very loud. Now I think those two things are kind of go hand in hand. And it would heat up because obviously the CPU fan is trying to ramp up to cool down the CPU, hence making the system a lot louder because the fans are running at a higher percentage and being very loud. I did end up fixing that from my personal rig. It's been running this whole time on idle, so you might not be able to hear it anyways. But I ended up upgrading the CPU cooler to the HyperX T3 Evo, I believe it is. I have the video on my channel if you guys want to check that out. It's not the greatest because for some reason it jumped a lot of frames, but regardless, check it out. I'll show you guys how you guys can upgrade it, and definitely improves the noise level from the PC itself. Before, when I played Fortnite for about 2 hours, it sounded a little bit less than my PS4, and if you ever have a PS4, you know it sounds like a jet engine. The PC was a little quieter than that, but it was still loud. After I did this upgrade, it's not loud anymore. Even after multiple hours of playing different games, it ramps up a little bit, but not at all to the degree of the PS4, and not at all to the degree that it was originally in when I bought it just stock, how I got it from the guy. And that's about it, guys. If you have any questions regarding the PC, something you guys want me to test, or any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you feel so kind to do so. Catch you guys on the next video.